Iran's the subject of the Talking Points memo once again. You can't get away from it because it affects every American and mostly every person around the world. So today, President Trump ordered a postpone of draconian action against the Iranian oil fields. He's going to blow them all up. And he's not going to do that for 5 days, he says, because they had a call yesterday, they being the United States. Witkoff is the main negotiator, and somebody in Iran. We don't know who, okay? Nobody knows who's in charge. The mullah's kid who got elected, nobody's seen him. So somebody's talking, but we don't know. But Trump says it was a very good call. They're making a lot of progress, so I'm going to back away for 5 days, see if we can get a deal, which is what Trump wanted from the very beginning, as I have reported. And how do I know that? Because I was on the phone with the man for half an hour talking about the negotiation. This was before there was military action. Okay. So again, the conversation between Iran and Witkoff, and they're, it's by phone, and there are other people in the room with Witkoff, of course, took place yesterday, Sunday, March 22nd. That happened. Iran says it didn't happen. Okay, what do you expect them to say? They're not going to admit weakness. They're not going to say they came to the USA wanting a deal, ever. All right, 2 weeks ago, here's what I predicted. Go. So the Iranians obviously are getting the hell kicked out of them, and this is a threat to them. And then they wouldn't be in power if they didn't kill 30,000 of their own countrymen. Okay?
No question.
And so they'll probably open talks, and then Trump will impose what he wants. Now, whether Iran accepts that or not, I think they will, because they don't really know how much of a choice now. The cliche is bombing them back to the Stone Age. That's what they're doing. But one thing changed, the difficulty in the Strait of Hormuz, which is strangling some oil flow out to the rest of the world, most importantly to China. China's a big part of this, okay, but it gets no publicity. But China gets an enormous amount of oil from Iran. In fact, 80% of all the oil Iran sells goes to China. Just keep that in mind. Now, a deal is going to look something like this. The mullahs are not going to be removed from power. All right? So regime change, it's already changed because the Israelis killed all the first leadership. So we're on the second and third tier now. But they'll remain. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Western weapons inspectors, nuclear people, probably from the UN, but there's got to be some EU people in there, will be admitted to make sure that the Iranians are not enriching uranium. Iranians are going to back away from that. They're going to say, all right, we won't do it now, which is what this whole thing's all about. All right? They have to, because Trump's not going to sign any deal that doesn't include that. Ballistic missiles, they only have like 8 of them left, so Iran doesn't, that's not a big factor, but they'll say we're not going to make any more, we're going to destroy the ones we have, or whatever they'll say. But, and I'm not naive, Iran will cheat on all this, but you got to get the agreement first. Okay, and then in return, the Trump administration will lighten up some of the sanctions, economic sanctions against Iran. They'll be able to take their oil and sell it to China and that kind of a thing. That's probably the way it's going to shake down. Now, how long will that take? I can't see it going more than 2 more weeks, because every day there's another attack on Iran's infrastructure. And if they are disrespectful or if they lie about this pause, Trump will come back with more ferocity against them. And, every day it's going to take Iran that much longer to rebuild whatever infrastructure they're going to have left. Okay, so these are my predictions of what's going to happen. Now, the war is going to cost the American taxpayer about $200 billion. A lot of money. All right? And Europe's not going to help. They won't even give us a dime. All right? Israel doesn't have any money. They're totally dependent on the USA. How is the Trump administration going to make that back? I don't know. But it'll probably be through some kind of oil deals. This is the only way I can see that we're going to get back anything out of this whole campaign against Iran. So that, is significant. Now, the Department of War, Haig said, we got $1 trillion. Look, let's not do that. We are spending ourselves into oblivion in this country, $39 trillion debt. We need to tighten this up. And then individually, I do expect oil prices to come down pretty significantly, pretty fast. Why? Because if they don't, the Trump administration, Department of Energy, is going to investigate the American oil companies. And they don't want that. They don't want to be investigated because they're gouging us. So I expect that to come down. Is it enough to keep the USA out of a recession? I don't know. Is it enough for the Republicans to keep the midterms? Hard to say. All right, that's the memo.